I think it's time for another beautiful Welsh waterfall. Well, hello and welcome. And today you find me back in the Vale of Neath, just south of the village of Resolven. And we're here to see, yes, another waterfall. There's a reason they call this area Waterfall Country. And this waterfall is quite easy to get to. It's well signposted from the road. And the main thing, it's less than 5 minutes walk to the waterfall from the main road. And if you look at the path in the background, you can see it's not that steep. It is quite muddy, covered in leaves, but it's not that steep. And there's also parking. By the way, I forgot to mention the name of the waterfall. It's called the Melincourt Waterfall. There is parking, only about 50 yards down there. Unfortunately, at the moment, Welsh Water are doing work in the area and they're using that car park as a depot. But you can still park 100 yards up. There's a mini roundabout and there's a street to the left of that you can park on. So it's easy to park. Well, the Melincourt Waterfall. Melin means mill in Welsh, and I think where that white house is in that area, there used to be a mill many years ago with a water wheel, obviously utilising the river. And also, there used to be an ironworks, I think, on the left bank as we walk up to the waterfall. So after we've seen the waterfall, we'll take a trip round and see if we can see any remains of those old ironworks. Anyway, let's crack on. Let's go up to see the Melincourt Waterfall. I forgot to mention, we've got some typical Welsh weather, a bit grey and drizzly. Because of the dampness and the microclimate in the valley, as you walk up, you'll see lots of ferns everywhere. Something like a Jurassic Park. Well, I've got the first glimpse of Melincourt Waterfall. I don't know if you can see it. It's about 100 yards up the path. And on the left bank there, I think that's where the old Melincourt ironworks were. They operated in the 18th century from 1708 to 1808. So after we've seen the waterfall, if there's a way up, go across and over there, we'll go and take a look. But anyway, not far to the waterfall. Coming to Melincourt Waterfalls brings us on to our old friend, JMW Turner, the artist. He came to Wales 5 times in the late 1700s. And if you remember, in my video about Iwery Priory, there's a painting he did of the interior of the Priory Church, which now you can find in the Museum of Wales. But during his trips, he also came here and he painted a partial watercolour, which was described as an exercise in rendering water. Is it just me, or when I think of JMW Turner, the image of Timothy Spall pops into my head? Anyway, the waterfalls are literally 20 yards over there. Pretty impressive. And again, no one's here. In all my excitement about getting to the falls, I forgot to tell you about them. They lie on the Melin Court Brook, and the falls themselves are 80 foot high, and the brook then runs down to the River Neath, not that far away. Well, I don't know if you can see on camera, between the waterfall and the drizzle, it is getting a bit wet. So I'm going to leave the waterfall now, and I'm going to see if I can find a route up over the top and behind the waterfall itself and past that old ironworks I mentioned. So let's get going. About 50 yards back from the waterfall, there is a path that takes you to the top so you can look down on the waterfall. Hopefully there is a way of going across it as well. If you're seeing this, that means my camera's working. Just after I finished filming at the waterfall, my camera tripod fell over and it came crashing down, broke the camera hood, but luckily the lens and the camera body seems to be working. So if you're wondering what I'm using my old Canon 80D and an old Canon lens, and despite falling on rocks, it seems to be working. So that's a thumbs up for the build quality. Well, I walked up the bank to the top overlooking the waterfall, and there is a path that goes round and you can cross it. There is a bridge that goes over the river and goes down, by the looks of it, onto the other bank. So we can walk down the other side back to the car. And on the way down, I did mention those old ironworks. Let's see if anything remains on the way back. I thought today was going to be quite an easy walk because I said it wasn't going to be that far, but I'm really putting the equipment and myself through its paces. As you come down on the other bank, there's a stile to come over and it leads you to the ruins. And there are some ruins of the old 18th century ironworks, which we'll have a look at. But on the way down, a slope. I fell over, camera went flying again, microphone came off. So fingers crossed, everything is working. It looks like it is. But anyway, enough of my moaning. Let's go and check out some of these remains. I have to admit, I didn't know that much about the Neath Valley until a few months ago. But since then, I've been here quite a few times, and it's really picturesque, but it's really interesting as well. Wherever you are, you're never that far away from some industrial heritage of the area, like this Melincourt Waterfall. Really picturesque. Turner painted it, but as you come round on the other side, you find the ruins of the old ironworks from the 18th century. So if you want to see more of this area and Wales in general, there's some videos coming up next, and I'll see you in one of those. Hopefully this will all come out, my equipment's working, both my camera and myself, because I did fall over quite a lot on this one, but luckily none of it was filmed.